You just have to tell them to watch on Closet Conversations Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be so actually
we're
it's
going
going to be
live there.
so well. It's going to be initially it's going to be live on the Podcast Detroit page. You have to share it from there. That's the only way this works.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't stream straight to you guys from this. I can only stream to it from the stuff that I have.
Is there a link like directly to you?
Okay.
You know what, give me a second. I will throw it in the chat for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm like, and Ricky is in Michigan too, but she has her
Here,
mom
while
is
I'm doing
a
that,
doctor.
I will
So
put
she got
that
some
on.
insight for it as well.
I'm digging that up.
Oh, we got our music too.
Yay!
Night Owl.
Feels like the real thing.
Jasper, you forgot me. I'm in Michigan too.
You are Nola. Yeah, Nola's in Michigan. Thank you.
I talked to Nola
last
earlier.
minute.
You want
It's
some,
okay,
Dad?
boo.
She got the whole damn.
Oh wow.
Oh, excuse me.
He shared it.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. What up? What up?
What up? Hey.
What up, though? Tonight, and we are Closet Conversation. Okay. They got it.
They got the
Tonight we're
picture.
talking about COVID. We have some very special guests on that have taken out time. We really appreciate you all. Top Shelf Bartini, Nanny 313, Nola, gotta have it. Johnny Rick, Clinton Vicks, Terrence J, Miss Portia. Did I miss anybody? Is that it?
Yeah.
And Podcast Detroit, we thank you for helping us stream live.
Happy it's working
Very
out.
much.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Still working during this time.
I know, Dave, we missed you.
We do miss you, Dave.
My Tuesday nights are not the same without you guys.
I know. So, of course, our topic is COVID-19 and how it has affected the African American population community, as well as your personal testimonies. If you know somebody, some of you are out of state that the states have mandated masks in public places. Some of you, are still working with the public. We want to get some ideas about how that is, as well as the Georgian residents that your state is opening, I think, on Monday, which sounds pretty scary. Johnny Ricks, you are the young man that does the marketing, or is that Tam?
Yeah. So I'm
That's you, Johnny. Yeah.
I have my own marketing firm, J.L. Ricks and Associates.
Okay, sweet. And are you working from home, or are you
Working from home.
okay? Everybody's working from home. Terrence, what are you doing?
I'm actually teleworking. I'm a government employee, non-essential, but I did actually have COVID and was hospitalized, so I made a recovery.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get back to you. And Clinton is an educator as well. So we want to know about working with students and how crazy that has been, especially being a parent and having to basically teach my child through the computer. And Nola, are you working now, or are you at home?
I'm at home, laid off. Yeah, but we have a return to work date for May 4th that I'm not too excited about.
Oh, yikes!
Oh, okay.
Let's get back to that. Okay, Terrence, I'm sorry that you had to experience that, but I'm so grateful and we're blessed to have you, that you have recovered. Can you share with us your symptoms? Do you know, give us your story? Do you know where you contracted it, or
I definitely don't know where. I mean, I frequent a lot of spots in the city and I hang out a lot, so I definitely can pinpoint it. But for me, March 11th, actually, I was at work and I started getting lightheaded, and I had the hot flash, cold flash, and my two bosses go home, leave, go home. So that was kind of the onset of my symptoms. And the main thing I had a high fever. I had a high fever for about the whole 3 to 4 week duration that I, was battling with COVID. I couldn't taste much, no appetite. I lost about 30 pounds. One thing for me that I experienced, I had severe joint pain, like my hips, my back. I couldn't sleep. Went to a lot of the different hospitals. I went to the hospital 4 times. They
So guys, if you could mute your mic, please. While I guess we
Yeah, yeah,
talking.
yeah,
Your
yeah,
echo
Mr. Mike.
Oh, I see it.
I did have a question. You said that you went to a few hospitals and then you were turned away.
Yeah.
Why did they turn you away?
First, one thing that a lot of people don't understand about this is that how they're handling this. If you have even the slightest symptom, your pinky toe hurt, whatever, if it's loosely COVID related, you're presumed to have it. So until you have a high temperature, which is like that 104 or higher, or something's wrong with your breathing, they turning people away. And I was definitely one of those people that was turned away. And I was at the hospital, temperature 103. I'm sweating. My t-shirt was soaked. I love it. And they was like, go home and take Tylenol. I'm a 20 veteran. I did 2 years in the Army, and I'd have been injected and poked, whatever you want to call it. I've never been this sick or suffered as much of my 40 years as I did for those 3.5, 4 weeks that I was battling COVID.
Okay, so Terrence, were you ever put on antibiotics or anything like that?
When my breathing became short, they took me and they did a chest X-ray. I had pneumonia. Then they did the COVID test later on that night, and the next morning they came in and said you were confirmed positive. So from there they gave the malaria, whatever that malaria drug is, people. They gave me some scripts that I already taken. They put me on oxygen. I wasn't quite bad on the ventilator, but they definitely had the oxygen tube for about 2 or 3 days. And they kept me until my fever broke. It was like, okay, you need to stick with somebody else and sent me home. I'm like, can I take some pain medicine? I would say that they did give me some pain meds, some Norfolk and stuff to ease my physical pain. When they discharged me, they said, go home and take Tylenol, take Motrin, wait it out.
How long was it before your fever broke? You were sitting home. So how many days were you in the hospital?
About my fever really didn't break till I got in the hospital. So by the time I got in the hospital, I was going on probably about 3.5, maybe 4 weeks.
Wow.
So you were in the hospital for how long?
About 4 days.
4 days.
So in reality, I ain't no medical doctor, but I kind of feel like I was probably on the downslide of it, kind of starting to get better. But with my breathing, that's something that you can't take a chance with. I couldn't sleep, but now I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Wow.
Did they say anything about being possibly contaminating other people or being contagious once they let you go?
Oh, good point. I'm currently teleworking. Like I said, I got a government job, so I got my laptop. I do everything from home. But once they discharge me, they said you got to wait 2 weeks from the discharge that you're not developing or having any new symptoms. So I waited out my time, and my fever didn't go back up. I never had a cough. I know some people experience a cough. I never had a bad cough. It was mainly just that fever that was kicking my butt.
Wow.
Did you have any? Do you have any underlying illnesses?
No, nothing immune system related. I got some broken bones and stuff, and some joints messed up from my time in the Army, but nothing really major that's damaging my immune system that made me more susceptible.
Wow.
Do you feel like once you got out of the hospital, do you feel like you might have exposed others or put anyone else at risk?
I definitely have. And of course it's unintentional, but I didn't even know I had it. So I'm still conducting business and going and doing different things. And I was actually at work. I work on the base. It's about 6,000 employees there. So And then another thing, when I did get tested, I went to urgent care. I'm just gonna assume that they couldn't test properly, but they stuck that swab up my nose and took blood and took all this other stuff, and they was like, "Oh, you're completely fine." I'm like, "Well, why is my temperature 103 if I'm completely fine?" So the early testing for it was kind of, wasn't completely accurate because
Wait a minute. So the swab test that they use to stick in your nostril, it didn't come back positive?
Now this was at urgent care. When they did it at Beaumont and Troy, they came back in like 3-4 hours and told us, it was like, you tested positive. So, maybe the difference between urgent care and actually going to a full-blown hospital.
Oh, wow. So you tested positive at the regular hospital and negative at the urgent care?
At the urgent care, yep. And even when I went to Beaumont early to try to get tested, and they asked you the little quick check down questions, they was like, you don't qualify to get tested. We got limited tests. Go home, self-quarantine, take Tylenol, take Mofo.
Wow. It's almost like they really, wanted you to die. I mean, like the fact that they didn't have, more compassion or to take it serious, and you were showing some of the symptoms, that's crazy to me.
I know one of the things that really bothered me and that hurt me, and I'm not sure if we have any veterans. I know Johnny is a veteran as well, but I went to the VA hospital. I got full benefits, coverage, everything. And like, as soon as I'm in the door, the dude was like, "You shouldn't be in here. You need to go home. You need to leave." I'm like, "Dude, I'm sick. Like, I'm not asking for y'all to admit me, but y'all can shoot me a script for something a little stronger than Tylenol." They was like, "No, you gotta go home, take Tylenol, self-quarantine."
So will they retest you again?
No.
So wait a minute, why not? Did they?
If you're not displaying those symptoms, I'm just assuming. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just assuming ain't no sense in them wasting a test on me if I'm not displaying these symptoms. That's just a guess.
See, that's what's crazy. I just want to know this: did you ever ask them? Once contracting it, are you able to catch it again?
Again, I've asked those questions and I've tried to do some reading on my own, and it's like you read some doctors, some scholars, say that you built up an immunity to it, you shouldn't catch it again. But right. The strand isn't the same strand though. Just because it's COVID-19, the strands and kind of change a little bit. So it's still, up in the air where you can recatch it. I got one of my homeboys and another friend of mine. We all got sick around the same time. And they're sick again with the same flu-like symptoms, flu, the congestion. So they believe that they didn't recaught it.
Oh, this too much.
Wow.
And those that's been around crazy. Me and the people that's been supporting and helping me is good. So I'm fortunate for that.
What's so scary is, I'm sorry, what's so scary is the fact that it's the unknown. It's it's just everything is so unknown.
Can I jump in right quick?
Yeah.
I just want to say, so they call it the novel coronavirus, right? The reason they call it novel is because it's brand new. They don't know anything about it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason they call it novel. They don't know if we can, be reinfected by it. It's stories that's coming out of China and Korea that are talking about people are being reinfected. They don't know if these people are catching new infections or if these people are suffering from the same virus that they were suffering from before. It lay dormant and now it's been reactivated. So they don't know what's going on with it. That's why it's called the novel coronavirus, because it's a brand new virus.
Wow.
Now, yeah. Well,
were you given any medication when you were in a hospital, like for bacteria?
They gave me that malaria. The thing that the hospital gave me extra was they gave me that malaria pill. It was 2 red pills, and they was giving me Norco and Tramadol for the pain. So the other medications was like for my blood pressure, just different stuff that I normally take on my own. The hospital only gave me that malaria stuff and pain meds. And even when I was being discharged, I was like, you can write me for like 10 pills. I'm not asking 40, 50 pills, just enough to get me through the next week and a half. to ease my pain. No, of course, because the opioid, we ain't gonna talk about that right now, but you know, they real funny about giving out medication, and it's like, I need it. I'm actually in pain. I just had back surgery a couple years ago. So this stuff I'm telling y'all is legit, and you can see it in my records. No, go home. Take some time off.
That's crazy. It's crazy because all these celebrities are supposedly getting tested twice. I see Slim Thug, he supposedly had it. And then he posted like today or yesterday that his shit is negative. So, I mean, you got
They got
a limited supply, but you're selectively choosing the people that you will test the second time.
They got the money.
Oh, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah. But you know, while we're still, you know, talking to Johnny, you know, before we go to like a next person, you know, Johnny, I do want, you know, everybody to know that, you know, unfortunately, you know, due to this pandemic of, you know, the COVID-19 conversations, you know, we definitely want to give our deepest condolences to your grandmother because she passed away due to this virus, correct?
Yeah, my grandmother passed away.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
She passed away a couple weeks ago. She was in a nursing home and contracted it. And she was in the hospital for, I believe, a few days. My aunt was keeping me on the loop of what's going on with that. And they had her on a ventilator, and they made the decision to take her off the ventilator. And I don't know, I think they made the decision because she wasn't doing well, and then also because of her age. My grandmother was in her 90s.
Okay.
My grandmother lived a long time, okay? My grandmother was, like I said, in her 90s, she was 92. But my grandmother had survived a lot. I mean, my grandmother had a procedure where they drilled into her head, and she survived that. She's had all kind of health issues in her advanced age. So for this to come along, I mean, I actually thought there was a chance she might survive it because she survived so much, but unfortunately she wasn't able to.
So
But by no measure was my grandmother's life, by no measure was my grandmother's life over, you know, even though she was advanced in age. But they made the decision to take her off the ventilator, and when they took her off the ventilator, she passed away.
And so, like, what is the most hurtful thing about her passing?
The most hurtful thing about her passing for me is that if they would have kept her on the ventilator, she might have lived. There's a chance she could have lived. But because the ventilators are in short supply, they made the decision to take her off the ventilator. So
now with the ventilator,
what's that?
Sorry, not to cut you off, but with the ventilator, do you think that she wasn't doing well because of the sedation, the amount that they give them to sedate them to put them on the ventilator?
I have no idea why they took her off the ventilator. All I know is they took her off and she didn't make it after that.
Cause see,
go ahead, Terrence.
I'm just gonna say, you know, definitely condolences to you, man. You know, I'm sorry to hear about that, but they can't predict, and they don't have no magic way to know what people's immune systems are, how their bodies are. So, you know, they make these arbitrary decisions or just come to a conclusion, and you don't know how much fight or how a person's system is going to react and come back from this. And that's another thing about the unknown that sucks, that they make these decisions without, you know, accurate information. Because that really does suck. You know, she could have stayed on that ventilator another week or so, and she might still be with us. That's really unfortunate.
My grandma Tessie was a fighter. I tend to believe if she would have been on that ventilator, she might be alive today. So I think that her death is definitely on the hands of the government, you know, Trump and on down, that was not ready for this thing when it popped off, that ignored it for 2 months and didn't do what it took to make sure that we were prepared for it. And so literally we're losing people out here. I mean, I think we're up to like 40,000 people in the last 42,000 in the last month and a half, 2 months. I mean, that's blood on Trump's hand. That's blood on everybody, you know, in his administration or his regime. That's blood on some of these governors' hands. It's terrible. You know, we are literally out here losing people because of the government's incompetence and the government's unpreparedness for this situation.
Yeah.
With that celebrity nanny and Clinton, Clint, y'all being in Georgia.
Georgia.
Y'all being in Georgia and y'all opening up, I think, Monday. How do you feel about that? Friday. Shit. Sorry, Friday.
Friday.
Even worse.
Like in a day.
Yeah, like tomorrow, basically.
Yeah.
So
It's a death
Unmute
sentence.
you, Clint.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
For me, I've been home now, I think about 4 weeks from work. Fortunately, I'm a teacher, so I'm salary, so I am still getting paid, and that's a benefit that a lot of people don't have right now. It's been a difficult transition adjusting to teaching long distance and virtually because most of the students, and I'd say 90% of them weren't prepared technologically wise. They don't have hotspots or internet connections or laptops. They had actually just all of the students received Chromebooks within the school, maybe a month and a half before this happened. And so we're having to make rash decisions about how to continue to educate the students for the rest of the school term, state testing, making sure that students are being fed. A lot of these students, especially in my city of Albany, are in low income poverty areas. And so when they get lunch at school and breakfast, sometimes that's a major meal for them for the day. A lot of these kids are coming from homes where they're dealing with drug addicted parents. A lot of the kids live in housing where they're step parents and foster parents and group homes. And so when they come to school, it's an outlet for them. And now that outlet has been taken away. So much so that I've had students reaching out saying hello to me before I could even text them to say, hey, how are you doing? They really miss having that school component. And I don't think anyone, parents, students, or teachers understood how pivotal school was to the complete student and the family structure until all of this happened and it was ripped away.
What grade levels do you teach?
I teach high school.
High school. Is there a plan, like, I don't know how to word it, but they just shut down school. So completing the school year, as far as how the school year is going to officially end, and then when it starts for the 21 semester, like how is that going to?
So 21 semester has not been decided upon. What they're doing for the remainder of this school term is if the student has a 70 or above, which is passing, the parent and the student have the option of taking a cumulative average of the first 3 9-weeks, and that will be their 4th 9-week grade. If they're below 70, then they have the option of completing a packet that in my school system, the school system put together for all students specific upon their grade, and they receive that paper packet, and it's also uploaded online, and they turn that in by May 20th. And we teachers will individually grade our students' work and submit that for them as their grade. The governor petitioned and was approved for there to be no milestone, which is the end of the year testing to determine whether students pass to the next grade. So there will be no milestone testing. The University System of Georgia has allowed all applicants who apply for college to be accepted. So there are some benefits that our community might not know about. This is an opportunity for a lot of brown and Black people to get in school, college, who otherwise would not have been able to. It's also an opportunity for a lot of students who had failing grades to do this work and lift their GPA and boost it. So in the midst of all of this confusion and distraction and transition, we have to keep our ear to the street and make sure that we're finding out all of the information so that we don't miss out on a lot of loopholes, like the fact that, there are no interest being accrued on certain loans right now, and student loans aren't charging anyone for the next 2 months. These are the times where you need to focus on that if you're not directly being focused by this virus.
And he said, in Georgia, I wish you could have heard this.
Oh, Terrence, we need you to mute your phone, honey. Your computer.
Mute your mic, sweetie.
I was sharing this information. I got excited. I'm sorry.
Jordan, you still nannying a certain family, and how has that been? Like,
hey, Jordan.
Hi. What you mean?
Nannying the family, even though you should be confined to the crib, you're still helping out this family. Is there any Uh-oh.
Well, she told me that she was an essential worker, so that made me essential.
That made you an essential.
That made me essential too because she was essential. I became essential by default. It's cool. It's different though. I don't really. My hours are cut, but it's double pay. So it kind of worked out for me, and I'm also collecting unemployment. So it's kind of like a win situation. It's just weird, just kind of just driving around and seeing, everything closed down. But I guess on Friday they're opening up like the beauty supplies, like Black things, barber shop, nail shop, just everything. And I was telling Justy the other day when I rode, like I live in Buckhead, like in a nice area, and stuff is shut down. But when I went to like Bankhead, like like a predominantly Black area, the beauty supply store was open. They, like I told Justin, they was conjugating outside. It was a Black club. It was just, they was just, everybody was just completely not even, the police were just riding by at this point. They kind of just like, it's not too much they can do. But that just kind of made me just really kind of sad and just kind of seeing that we're not taking it serious. And that makes sense. We were probably the first targets to be, why they, did all of that, because they don't come out, they throwing parties still. I saw something the other day, like today, that they're having a party on Friday. Like this the first day, y'all already trying to go clubbing, and then I still see some people having stripper parties, just different things that they're really not taking it serious. And me being a millennial, I'm 26 years old in a minute, it's really it makes me sad and sick, especially when I see people doing stuff and they like live with their parents, and it's like, do your parents know that you're going, you doing all this and going back home, and or you going to work and you got, you at a party in the middle of the night during all of this, and everybody's just,
it's the same here.
Yeah, it's just carelessness. It's just complete carelessness, and just it's.
So area code 48235, which was the area code of the high school that me, Crystal, and Terrence went to, is the leading zip code for coronavirus cases right now in Detroit.
Wow. Yes, it is, and that's where my parents live. And
what area is that?
It's unfortunate,
Yeah, Southfield and 7 Mile area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
West side. Yeah.
Northwest area.
It's really bad in that area.
The last time I was over there, people was carrying on like nothing is going on. I mean, they just living everyday life like it's nothing happening.
They're not wearing masks. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, they don't think this thing is real. They don't take it seriously at all. And that's going to be the danger when they begin reopening or lifting orders and reopening the economy, so-called. That's going to be the danger, that people are not going to take this seriously, and we're going to spread the disease even more, and we're going to be right back where we're at.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying, Johnny. I just saw the other day that they posted saying, well, it was on the news, but that the second phase is supposed to be worse. That they expect more deaths and the death toll to be higher and more people contracting it once they do open up everything in the world again.
Yeah, they said that's what happened to the Spanish flu. So the second wave of that.
Absolutely. So a lot of people don't even realize the Spanish flu in 1918 lasted 3 years. They were in that from 1918 until almost 1921. And it killed almost as many people as people died in World War II.
It was 100,000.
Yeah, it was in the hundreds of thousands. Just put something in perspective right quick. Vietnam costed 66,000 lives, American lives. 66,000 people died in Vietnam. We're already at 40,000, 42,000 according to Terrence.
Wow.
So we're going to pass the same number of people that died in Vietnam within a month or a couple of weeks here. We're going to pass that with coronavirus.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know how it is and I'm back in Jersey and use Guys City, but here in Albany, it's a small southern city with about 80,000 people. And we've been on CNN since the outbreak of this thing because of the impact of percentages of people per capita here that have been affected. 3 days ago, with 80,000 people in our city, we were already up to 83 people that had died from it. We have, and mind you, we only have 2 major hospitals in our city, and we've had over 4,000 corona cases, and about 2,000 were positive. In my personal family, I've had members who were at the, there was a funeral here that was contributed with spreading the virus in our city. There were actually 2 funerals, and my uncle and aunt were at the funeral, and they ended up contracting COVID-19, and they were sick, and they're still sick, but they're doing much better now, but they were down very ill for at least 3 weeks. And they're both in their late 60s, early 70s. The shortness of breath. And then I also had a cousin who lives in Atlanta, and she works at the hospital in intake, and she ended up contracting the virus as well. And she has 4 kids. She's our age, in 39, 40. And she's now recovering, and she was fortunately able to be on the oxygen tank. But the sad part about it is, with the people who are dying, they're not able to have funerals. They don't have anybody with them when they die. They're isolated. They're dying in isolation. Nobody there to hold their hand. No family member there to see them. Even after they die, the family member can't go visit. Their body is being put into a room somewhere until it's able to be dealt with. And even at time of burial, it's an outside graveside burial with no more than 10 people in a closed casket. So these family members are never again seen by their family.
Let me speak to that. When my grandmother died, I just went through all of that. When my grandmother died, they did give us the choice of coming down there, like close family members to come into the hospital. I chose not to go there because, I didn't want to go there and contract coronavirus. I still have to come in contact with my mother, and my mother would be considered high risk. And of course, she didn't go either. So I didn't see my grandmother until she was at the funeral home. And at the funeral home, they did not embalm her body. And, yeah, they didn't.
What?
They didn't embalm her body. They didn't put makeup on her. They didn't do any of that. They just had her. They covered. Her body was covered except for her face. Okay. And then on top of that, we had to view her from behind a door, a glass door. Like, we couldn't just be right up on her body because the body is still contagious. So not only was her body not dressed, not embalmed, and we had to view her behind a door, and we could only be in there 10 at a time. So this is very real. We couldn't be with her at the hospital. I mean, we could have been with her at the hospital, but it wouldn't have been an ideal situation because we would have been putting ourselves at risk. And then when we did have a chance to have a service for her, we could only do it 10 at a time. She wasn't embalmed, she wasn't dressed, and we had to do it behind a door. So that's so
sad. So sad.
And maybe
I'm sorry to hear that.
One of the reasons why they offered you the option of going to see her is because you're in a larger area. I don't know if you guys saw the nurse that went viral that was crying about being forced to work, and she had a compromised immune system. Well, she's the nurse at the local hospital here where I live in Albany, Georgia. Because of the size of the hospital and the magnitude of patients, you can't even go visit anybody at the hospital. So even when your family member is sick, one person is allowed to go visit. And like you said, Johnny, they'll allow you to be able to see them at a distance. But even after they die, like because of this being a novel virus, like you said, they don't know how contagious the cadaver is. So they're not even allowing nobody is doing anything to the body. As you said, there's no embalming, no dressing. It's put into a plastic bag and shipped off, and it's buried.
So sad.
So they're not doing cremations anymore? That's a story?
Well, that's another option, a cremation.
But you still can't have people, though. You still can only have a limited amount of people, even if you do cremate them. So, I mean.
Yeah, and you still can't have people around the body prior to the cremation.
Right.
So it's about the people who don't even know that their family members are in the hospital infected right now, who have lost contact, who are dying, and nobody even knows that they've passed from this. There are going to be a lot of unidentified people that have passed away from this virus after it's all over.
I know. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to throw a couple things out there about actually having it, and one of the key things is staying hydrated. I have Pedialyte, Gatorade, water, staying hydrated, trying to stay active as you can because your body is lazy. If you just laying around, your body gonna get used to that and slow you down. And having somebody around, I was fortunate enough to have somebody that was with me and helped me. But like we've said, it's a lot of people that's just by themselves. They don't have anybody. Even just a phone call, checking up. You never know how your words can give somebody that little bit to get up and keep going.
Right. Yeah, but I'm glad that you mentioned that, Terrence, because I had also been reading that when people do, get home and they're still going through the recovery process, that that they have like been the medicine, they don't really give you any medicine once you leave and once they feel like you're cured or you're better from the virus. So I've been hearing that people have been taking like edibles, and that when they take the edibles, it stops the pain and like alleviates the pain. So I mean, what you laughing for, Berkeley?
When you said edibles, everybody was like, "Really?"
But it's a herb.
Really?
No, but
I don't personally take them anymore, but my thing is like, I wonder if that really works and if that really alleviates the pain,
1,000% that if you boost your immune system with natural supplements, because I've been taking it, I'm on this like natural kick for a while, even before the coronavirus. So I'm real serious about taking black seed oil, sea moss daily. What else? Turmeric, ginger. All these things are superfoods to help boost your immune system. And what is his name? I'm sorry, is it Terrence? What you said is black seed oil. Absolutely.
That black seed oil.
Yeah. You have to be active as well. Your body cannot just be sitting around and being lazy. You have to be able to have your heart, in good condition, just to be able to boost your immune system. And I really feel like, I don't say it's a cure or anything of that nature, but I just feel like if people start taking their health more seriously.
Let's go ahead and say that it is a cure. Let's say that if you have a healthy regimen and you are taking those vitamin supplements and you are eating right and drinking water, keeping hydrated, if this becomes your lifestyle, you will be able to beat a lot of things. It won't.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because like my brother and I, Clinton, my brother and I, Clinton, like we have been on this vitamin kick for at least the past like 15 to 20 years. We take anywhere from 8. Take off the mic, bro. You mic'd up. We can't hear you. Okay. There you go. So yeah.
I'm really 55.
I'm really 72.
No, but I've been taking vitamins all my life since 5 years old, starting with chewable vitamins and increasing them with other herbs and supplements all my life. So we live by vitamins and herbal supplements.
Good.
We live by them. And I black seed, I've been taking black seed pills for the past 5 years because I had an overactive thyroid. And they put me on medication, and the doctor was like, you're gonna have to be on this medication for the rest of your life to control your thyroid. So once I started taking black seed, my thyroid levels went normal. Until this day, the doctors are like, well, what are you doing? The reason why we can't put your levels are normal. And I'm like, I'm taking black seed oil. And they like, well, we've researched that and there's nothing in that and I'm like, but well, my blood.
Yes, it is.
That's how they derive
they need money. Pharmaceutical companies need money.
That's how they make the freaking drugs. It's out of parts of the herb.
Nutrients and things that we can eat, all these things react differently for different people. So just because it didn't work for the 300 people they tested black seed against doesn't mean it won't work for Crystal.
Exactly.
For Terrence. But we have to know ourselves. We have to know our own bodies. And we have to know what works for us and what doesn't work for us, because a doctor could put you on a medication that's not going to work for you. When you could go and get black seed oil, or you can go up here to Moore's Herb, or you can go to GNC, whatever the case may be, and take a vitamin, or you can change your diet and eat certain things that would work for you that might not work for somebody else. You have to know yourself. We have to take responsibility for our own life, our own health, and know our own bodies.
Absolutely.
Lastly, I'm gonna say this. I'll be kind of hesitant to share this part, but I also believe your mindset and your mentals.
Oh,
absolutely.
And that's why I keep saying I'm grateful that I had somebody here that was able to help me and kind of just stand by me and keep me going, because I honestly felt like killing myself.
No.
I really truly did. Like the pain, like during the day, I'm walking around with 103 temperature, lethargic, dizzy. I'm in a little condo. Chris would have been in my house. I'm in a little condo. From going from my room to the bathroom, I got to sit down for 10 minutes and regroup because my body is fighting with that high temperature. So that's how I am during the day. Hot flashes, cold flashes. Okay, now get ready to go to bed. I lay on my right side, my hip hurting. I lay on my left side, my hip hurting. I lay on my back was hurt. Then it felt like while all of that's going on, somebody had ice picks stabbing them in my knees. And my ankles was hurting. Like I couldn't find no relief, no way to alleviate what was going on. And if I just really been here the whole time and went through all this by myself, I wouldn't be standing here talking to y'all right now. That's how much. You only can take so much physically. You only can take so much mentally till you feel like, fuck it, I can't take no more, I'm good.
It wasn't your time. God said no.
Right out of my mouth.
But what people need to understand, when they get those high fevers and elevated blood pressures, it's an infection that's sitting in. So sometimes those antibiotics will probably react faster to a home remedy. And that's what it seems like is going on right now is it's an early infection that they need to cure as to why you have an elevated fever. So now that infection has turned into something else, and that bacteria that's in your body is killing you, and they don't know that.
That fever is the worst part. That fever.
And I feel like the things that they're telling you to take, the Tylenol, this and that, I mean, it just really prolongs it.
We don't get the same level of treatment in the hospitals as other people do.
Right.
Our ailments and our sicknesses and our injuries are not taken as seriously. I mean, and this is documented.
Never have been.
If Terrence was a 40-year-old white man, veteran of the U.S. Army, had gone to the same hospital, just a different skin complexion, he would have been treated a lot differently. They would have took what he was saying a lot more seriously. They would have been quicker to admit him to the hospital. They would have probably given him a regimen of pain drugs to deal with the pains that he was dealing with. It would have been a different situation, and there's a lot of research that shows that, and a lot of us have anecdotal experience with that, with going to the hospital and being treated differently, not having our complaints and our issues taken as seriously. And I've been to the hospital, and doctors talk to me like I'm lying to them, like when I'm telling them like I'm lying or something, like I'm not being honest with whatever I'm telling them, because for whatever reason, they just don't take our sicknesses, our ailments as seriously.
When I went to the urgent care the second time, I can cuss on here, right? Can I cuss? I can cuss, that's okay? The motherfucking EMS, right? These two white dudes. Because I was trying to go to the VA downtown. I wasn't going to be able to make that drive. So I said, I'm going to shoot to the urgent care, have them recheck me to see that my temperature went up worse than I was a week ago. I said, call an ambulance. I need them to take me to the VA, because even though I got different insurances, I'm 100% covered at the VA. I ain't got to worry about no bill, period. And they actually talked me up out of going to the hospital. They took me to my car and put me in my car seat and left me.
They want our people to die, especially our Black men.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's just my opinion on it, just my observation on it. They are purposely trying to kill us off. And that's just it.
The stimulus check got a few people riled up. They over here like really supporting my man. Like, nigga, don't talk about my president. We got 1,200. Like,
well, those are simple-minded people. Very simple-minded. This whole situation kind of reminds me of that movie, They Live.
Oh shit.
With the glasses.
Yes, sir. Obey, all of that, people in a funk, not really, paying attention to the real propaganda, because it's definitely propaganda.
Right.
America is
They're
America,
definitely
right?
trying to distract you. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
definitely trying to they're definitely trying to distract you from other things because everything. Like they loaded EBT cards, they're doubling the amount on the food stamps. So people are like, oh, I got double stamps. I got my stimulus check.
The money is the
I got
smoke
my
and mirror.
money. And it's like is $1,200 really gonna take you out of debt? Like even if you on Section 8, like is that really gonna take you out of poverty? It's not.
Some people are easily sold, especially when you dangle money in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They
TV.
Diamond.
George.
That's just like my job, for instance. Like I said, they want us to come back May 4th without having any type of true safety precautions in place to help us with the social distancing. I'm not going back, and that's just that. And if I lose my job, so be it. But my life and me not putting my son at risk or my family at risk means way more than working for a corporation that could give two shits about me.
America didn't start talking about reopening until the message that it was mainly us being affected got out there.
Yep.
Because coronavirus, the infection rates haven't really fallen off. I mean, we've seen like little slight variations here. We've seen a couple of dips here and there, but for the most part, the infection rates have not fallen off. The only thing that's changed in the last couple of weeks, last 2-3 weeks, is the message that is mostly affecting us in urban areas. Yeah. Which is why you saw all those white people up in Lansing, and now you're seeing them march all over the country because they don't believe it really affects them.
Right.
But it does. I have nurse friends who have let me know that white people are dying too. They just don't put that out in the media.
Here's the thing. If it was affecting them, if it was mainly affecting, let's say it was 80-90% of the people that were dying was white folks, do you think they would be out there in strength the way they are talking about reopening the country?
Hell no.
I mean, so what this is showing us is really showing us how America really feels about us.
And what they not even realizing too, I don't think it's so much racial per se, but what they gonna think happened, us brown and black folk that's infected, that is going back out, mass transit, working these jobs, these service industry jobs. What you think we gonna do with carrying it?
They haven't thought about that. They're not thinking that far, Terrence. They're not thinking that far.
Right. Nope. Because the difference is a lot of brown and black people are in, more consolidated. We got to use buses and mass transit, and a lot more white people may be rural. Okay, yeah, we got that. So the distances has naturally kept them a little more, I guess I could say isolated. But once shit start getting back to normal, come on, man. It's like, I mean, I'm not no medical profession, but you talking about opening beauty salons and barbershops and stuff where they get serviced by brown and black people.
Listen to what Sarah's is saying too, by the way, because the Georgia governor, I think his name is Kemp, came out and made that announcement that they were going to start by opening hair salons, barbershops, nail shops. What was it? I think he was talking about bowling alleys or something. I mean, stupid stuff.
Yeah, he said bowling alleys and movie theaters.
Yeah, stupid stuff. I mean,
right. The dumbest shit. And restaurants.
Right. So, but who, especially when we talk about the hair salons, the barbershops, the nail salons, who mostly frequents those?
Black people, our people.
Come on now.
Like I said, propaganda. It's a population control. And they are trying to get rid of a certain amount of people of color, minority people, period. That's really what it is.
Simon, in Charlotte, what have you noticed? I know it's not as severe as Michigan and Georgia. What steps have you all taken? Has everything been shut down there?
Yeah, it has. I mean, we have during the day where, everything closes around 6 o'clock, but it's stuff still open.
open, like you guys have restaurants and stuff like that. But everybody is in an uproar here in Charlotte. And then also I live close to TK, South Carolina, and they real chill there. There's not a lot of people with masks and gloves. I mean, here and there you'll see it, but it's not like everywhere you look, they have it going on.
Well, I mean, but like Charlotte is like mainly known as a chocolate city. So like, are there a large amount of like the Black population, getting sick from the virus?
Well, I where I live at, and also where I work at, I have a part-time job all the way out in the suburbs where it's only like less than 10% Black people. So I haven't been around any Black people recently.
The white people at your job, are they wearing masks?
Was mandated now, but okay. Yeah, I do see them with masks.
Okay. But they don't have as many cases as we do, or at least it hasn't been reported.
You said things were still open, like restaurants, etc. Are they operating at reduced capacity where like it's carry out only, people can't dine in, or is it just still business as usual?
No, it is. It's only carry out.
Okay.
But, coffee shops on the weekend, I see people in there. And one of my coworkers, he passed away, and I don't think he had it, but after he passed is when we had to start getting like our forehead checked, sign a waiver that we haven't been out of the country or out of the state or whatever. But I did go to his funeral, and they allowed 50 people. And he was had on the street, laid in the casket, and they give you a number when you walk through the door. And that's how they're doing a funeral at the homes here. They're allowing 50 people at a time.
Oh. Okay.
Do y'all have plans to open up anytime soon, like the other states?
No.
Because I think y'all kind of like behind. I don't know if they're waiting for more people to die or what the motive is, but you guys are kind of behind, say Atlanta and Michigan.
Our state is like 75% less than Michigan.
Wow.
As far as the death rate.
Wow.
It's huge. Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know how true it is when they say the virus can't survive in heat. And here in Michigan, and probably also in Georgia, like today it was 65. It's been like 65, 70, full sun. So it's been warm.
And it's been cold here.
It's cold here.
It's so cold.
It's more for the
north.
Right.
That it may dip off, because that is a big conception about the virus, is that it doesn't do well in heat. So that maybe during the summer months it may dip off again. But back up in our nasal passages and back up in there where it's really at, it really ain't getting quite hot enough to kill the damn virus. So they thinking the heat may reduce, and this is just different theories, may reduce the transmission of it, but people still carrying it. Summer ain't but for a hot minute for most places.
I know any wrong cough or ache, I'm Google searching my I heard earlier. I'm like, what?
I know that's right, Leslie.
One of the major contributing factors to this virus spreading also in poor communities of people of color has to do a lot with habits. Sharing blunts, sharing drinks, sharing beers, not being hygienical.
Yep.
All of that contributes, and unfortunately, and it's not to say that just because somebody is low income that they're not clean, but they might not have access to cleaning products. They might not have been taught proper cleaning procedures. And so all of these things contribute as well. The socioeconomic divide impacts communities not just in what you have, but is also in the exposure and to resources. And so the ignorance that permeates throughout the low-income minority communities is exacerbating the coronavirus and causing it to spread deadly across our people.
He's a teacher with exacerbating, like, wait, what does that mean? Yeah, no, you're right, because I see them, meaning us, walking down the street, still passing the blunt back and forth, like, dude.
It's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like my cousin stopped by here a couple days ago to pick up something from me, and like we almost dapped each other. You know, that's my cousin, that's my blood. So like he was saying, just some stuff out of habit. When you see certain people, you in certain situations, like I've been knowing this person for 20 years, and that's my family. And you want to touch or hug or sit next to them, it's like, because I know when I'm out, I be holding my breath all the time when I walk past people. Like I be nervous, but you know, like he was saying, that habit also.
Yeah.
What's so sad is the world will never ever be the same. It won't.
I had to say,
and my son has to grow up in that. That's what is crazy, that the new generation will operate a totally different way than we ever operated.
I don't think people got short memories, especially Americans in America. It's gonna die down just like SARS, bird flu.
So you feel like it's just gonna poof disappear, like
this shit wants to die back now, it's gonna be like it never happened. Just think back. I mean, shit, I'm 40. I can think back to 4 or 5 different plagues or whatever stuff that's supposed to be world leading or everybody getting sick, and it's like it's a forgotten memory.
True.
Even the stuff Trump dumbass do, the grab him by the pussy, it's good people on the side and not just all the dumb stuff he do.
No, I still remember his dumb ain't stand his ass.
People got short memories.
But they do have short memories, but because of being out of work for so long, they also have short pockets. And it's going to take a while to recover from this. So they're not going to be able to forget it as quickly as they want to, because the majority of people aren't getting paid right now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, filing for unemployment is at an all-time high. You know, and unfortunately, you know, I feel that maybe it is airborne. Have y'all ever thought about that? Because now pets are starting to get, there's 2 pets that a cat and a dog that tested positive for COVID-19 today when I was watching ABC, you know, worldwide news, and I was like, 2 pets.
I just don't trust
and
the media.
Now 3 tigers and 2 lions were tested positive for coronavirus at the Bronx Zoo. So it's like, okay, like animals, they catching the Rona too. You know, so it's kind of like, that don't make no sense to me. So is it airborne?
But see, this coronavirus isn't new though. This is not the first time coronavirus has been out. This is the first time this strand has been out to this magnitude. Pets have been able to get coronavirus because they have a vaccine for pets.
They do. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's
you know what?
We can say this is a government. This is not something that just happened. This was planned, it was calculated, and it was executed. Now, whether it was controlled, that's different. But it wasn't by happenstance that this all occurred.
I agree. Remember when everybody
virus on the Lysol Clorox, it does. That's all I'm looking.
Right.
Wait, what you say, Justin?
I'm in the camp of people that believe that this was probably a natural occurrence. I know it's not a lot of people that believe that. Most people think this was intentional, but it's totally something that was naturally occurring.
But I can say that as far as the vaccine, and this is just speaking that, but I know that my coworkers are predominantly white and they're all for getting the vaccine. But when you talk to a Black person, they're, oh, no, it's the mark of the beast. So, I mean, I don't know what y'all thought process of that.
Like, I mean, there's a reason for that.
They're saying no, but then a lot of white people are like, oh, we can't wait for the vaccine.
Because they always use Black people as guinea pigs, just like they did with
and they inject you with the virus. You're not about to play around with me to see if my
just like they did the Tuskegee experiment.
With the syphilis. Yes, that's what I just
I never got a flu vaccine.
Syphilis.
I don't even believe I even had measles.
I've never had the flu vaccine.
But how could you come up with a vaccine and you don't even know what it is?
Right.
COVID-19 on something that they don't even know.
How do you guys
the
feel?
little girl that passed away.
How do you guys feel like if Trump would not have ever closed down, like would we have been more prepared? Had he not closed down,
we absolutely could have been more prepared. They knew about this when it was happening in China. It was happening in China in late December, early January. So The thing about it is that Trump has a whole team of intelligence people telling him things about what's going on in the world. He has world-class experts and intelligence experts telling him what's happening. They could have totally headed this off and saw it coming, but he chose to
He
ignore it.
doesn't give a shit about nobody else but himself. He is the true definition of a narcissistic sociopath on the highest level. That
And he's
man
so
is
worried
sick.
about Obama because a lot of stuff, a lot of those different committees and teams and different shit that was supposed to be in place to help combat certain things and keep us ahead of it, he's cutting the funding or he's cutting the departments completely. Because Obama put the shit in place. How stupid can you be? This is some stuff that's helping everybody. And he's getting rid of it. For what?
Because he want to
If
commit
something-
suicide on everybody.
If something doesn't clearly translate to being something that increases his power and makes it more likely that he'll be reelected, he's not interested in it.
Because I wonder how now
So
that
he's about to be reelected. So y'all get ready for this shit.
Say what
Right
now?
He's about to be reelected. Get
Why do
ready
you
for
feel that? Why do you feel that?
Elections are still taking place.
Do you?
Elections are taking place right now while we're being at home quarantined.
Yeah.
In what states is that?
It's been in at least 3 states. I think was Iowa or Wyoming. It was one of those. I know definitely was one.
All the states that will vote for him, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure about that. But don't be surprised. All them niggas that got $1,200 that's ignorant as hell are about to go out and vote for the first time.
You know what?
Can I run this by y'all?
They could get $5,000. They're still not gonna.
What's the chick? The chick Kelly Conway, whatever. This dummy was on Good Morning America or something, and they was talking about why Trump pulling out the WHO and all this different stuff that can help us and fight. And she was like, "Well, this is COVID-19. It's not COVID-1. Should they already know how to deal with this and have the funding for it?" And like, exactly. She said this is COVID-19, COVID-1. So
we already have from 1 through 18 already. We missed that.
Right. You dummy.
Right, and this is Kelly Conway is if I'm not mistaken, isn't she the chief of staff?
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, she's the chief of staff.
Right.
So she's one of Trump's senior advisors.
We gotta get off, guys.
But Wyoming and Wisconsin were the states that voted.
Wow. Don't be surprised, Nola. You better go out there and vote for 10 people. Be 10 people when you vote.
Oh, baby, I always vote, and it would never be for no motherfucking Trump, ever. Ever.
I'll stay safe. Take your vitamins.
Thanks,
Yes.
man.
Take your
Get y'all
vitamins.
some black seed oil.
Yeah, hey, Black Sea Crew.
Yo, Jordan taking a nap. Hi, Jordy. Bye,
All right,
Jordy.
y'all take it easy.
Thank you, Tina.
Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Johnny.
Bye.
Thank you, Clinton. Thank you, Miss Porsche. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ricky, Karen.
Yep,
Yes.
definitely. Hey, I want to come back.
Thank you.
I got some more shit to talk about. Hey, bring
All right. Well, we definitely will make a way for that.
Yep. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Yep. Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me, Berkeley?
Yeah.
All right. So we are
Closet Conversations.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. We had so much fun. Our first virtual show. Woo!
It's good seeing you back.
Thanks, Podcast Detroit.